I didn't even ask about terms and conditions. Because I read the terms and conditions of having an American passport. There are many things that I don't like. First and foremost, I will have to be subject to the American legal system. Yeah, I'm not enthusiastic about that, I'm not gonna lie. Because I never planned to do anything wrong in America. But in the back of my head, I always thought if something was to be done by me, I felt good knowing they would have to deport me. They would be like, you're guilty, you're deported. And I'll be like, no. And then I'll come home and be like, Maracas, you must know, South Africa, you guys know, you know what happens sometimes, man, you never know. Why did Rihanna leave her iPhone like that? No, but I seriously don't want to be involved in the American justice system. Because they say it's justice, but it's terrifying. You don't know how they'll treat you. You don't know why they'll treat you. The scariest part for me is what happens in courts. Because they have a jury system in America. I'm terrified of that. Terrified of it. For those who don't know, I'm sure you've seen it on TV, but for those who don't know, the American system is very different to the South African one. In South Africa, you have the judge, you have the prosecution, and you have the defense. Right? That's who your case is working with, and the judge decides. The judge has studied, they're learned, they know what's going on. And you can talk to them on their side. I'm joking. But I like knowing that person had to go to school to figure out whether I broke the law. In America, it's a different system. They have a judge, they have a prosecution, and they have a defense, but they also have a jury. A jury. 12 people who are randomly gathered, randomly picked, who decide your fate. These people do not need to have studied the law. They don't need to understand the law. They don't even need to have watched Law and Order. Now they're deciding your fate. Clan, clan. I don't want that in my life. Yeah, I don't want that, and I don't want to be on a jury either. That's what comes with getting an American passport. You now have to be on a jury. I don't want to be on a jury. You know why? Because I'm South African. Yeah, and you're probably wondering, what does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. I read the rules of being on a jury, and I realized South Africans can never be on a jury. Yeah, because there's certain rules when you're on a jury. One of the most important rules right at the top of the list is if you are on a jury, if you're serving on a jury, you may not express your feelings or emotions about anything that is happening during the case. You may not talk about it, and you get out. I'm standing around staring at other people. Like every man in this room knows, when we use the toilet, what do? We get in public toilet, you stare dead ahead. You pee, you do your thing. You do not look to either side. If you're fidgety, you look up, you look down. You do not look at anyone else. The guy next to you could start choking. You don't turn your head, you don't shake, you don't move. You hear him like, you be like, hey man, hey, you all right? Yo, hey man, you okay? Yo, you want me to call? Hey man, are you okay? Yo, you want me to call? Don't look at me! What are we doing? What are we fighting about? Public bathrooms. And if you know your history, you'll know this happens all the time in America. It happens over and over and over again. There was a time when women had to fight to use public bathrooms in America. Imagine that. There was literally a time when women weren't allowed to use public bathrooms all across America, and they had to fight. And there were men who were angry. They're like, this is crazy. You're gonna have women in public bathrooms? That's insane. Like, how does it work? Huh? What, they're gonna come in there while we're peeing? And then what, they're gonna look at our wieners? Huh? And they're gonna laugh? Huh? Think about this, ladies. There was a time when women were first allowed to step into the workplace where there were no public bathrooms that they could use. So ladies, if you were out and about back then, you needed to pee, you needed to poo, you had to go home. Yeah, and I say poo theoretically, I don't know if you actually do. No, I don't think any guy does, let's be honest. We don't. Like, we assume this on a biological level, but I don't know for certain that any woman actually... In fact, any man in here, I don't, like, think of any woman in your life. Do you know the last time she pooed? I don't think you know. I don't think you know. There is no forensic evidence to back up that claim. There is no smell. There is no stain. There is no nothing. And ladies, I don't know who's doing your bathroom PR, but they're doing a stellar job. Stellar job. Women go to the bathroom, smells better when they come out of it. How? You never know when a lady's pooing. Never. Because also, women keep the same amount of time. That's the most impressive thing. You give nothing away. Yeah, a woman's gonna go pee. It takes 10 minutes. She goes to the bathroom, right? Gets there, tinkle, 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 comes out, washes her hands, powders her face, texts on the phone a bit, comes back to the table. You have no clue. Yeah, she's gonna go poo, same thing, 10 minutes. Goes to the bathroom, does a thing, pellets, 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 comes back out, wash her hands, powder the nose, text her friends, get back out there. You have no clue. With men, you know exactly what we're doing. Discretion is not our forte. You know when every single man is gonna go pee. Why? 2 minutes. Off to the bathroom, we're in there. Quickest thing ever. It's like a NASCAR pit stop. Yeah, we get in, we pee, we come back out, act like we're washing our hands, and we're back. How do you know when we're gonna take a dump? Because it's obvious. We go to the bathroom, never come back. That's the last time you'll ever see us. Your family's putting up wanted posters in the restaurant. Have you seen this man? Imagine, people were fighting about bathrooms. This every time in America, every time. There was a time when black people had to fight to use public bathrooms. Huh? Same thing. Black people were like, why can we not use public bathrooms? And again, people were angry. This is crazy. You're gonna have black people in the public bathroom? How does that even work, huh? So what, they're gonna be standing there while I'm peeing, huh? And they're gonna be looking at my wiener, huh? And they're gonna laugh, huh? Yo, I'm old enough to remember when there was a discussion in America about whether gay people could use public bathrooms. This was an actual topic of discussion. I remember seeing people on the news being interviewed. They'd be like, do you think that gay men should be allowed into the same bathrooms as straight men? I'd be like, look, I don't mind what they do. If they keep it to themselves, that's fine. But, just answer me this. How's it gonna work, huh? So what, you're in the bathroom with them and then what? Like he's gay and I'm just standing there and I'm peeing, huh? And he's looking at my wiener, huh? And then he grabs it, huh? And he starts yanking on it, huh? He just starts tugging away and I get hard and I'm enjoying it, huh? And then this is one of the best experiences I've ever had, huh? And then I start coming back weekly, hoping I'll bump into him, and I do, huh? And then at some point we agree to meet outside a nice little restaurant that's cozy and get to know each other, huh? And then a few years later we get married and our families are joined and we live happily ever after, huh? Is that what you want? Wow. Public bathroom. What an exciting time it's been. I couldn't have chosen a better time to come and live in the United States. Huh? What an exciting time. I'm surprised that with everything that's happened, it hasn't all burned down. I've been coming to the United States on and off, visiting for almost 10 years. And what was great about visiting on and off was I got to experience America in snapshots. I would feel what the people were feeling. I would get an idea of what the populace was going through. And I'll never forget how every time I came to America, one of the biggest things I noticed was how black Americans were having a tough time. I remember the first time I came out, I was staying on the West Coast, and I met a young African-American man in Compton. And we were hanging out at a comedy club. And this guy, he looked over at me and he's like, hey, yo, Trevor. He's like, you the dude from Africa, man? I said, yeah, I'm one of them, yeah. He's like, yo, man, I can't front, B. It's an honor to meet you, man. It's an honor to meet you, man. Yo, man, I always wanted to meet a dude from Africa. You an OG, man. You an OG. I was like, thank you, thank you. He's like, yeah, man, you know how hard it is out here for a black man? Dude, I can't front, man. You can't get no jobs, man. The cops be on your ass all the time, man. Yo, I finna go to Africa myself, man. Yo, I'm gonna go to Africa with you, man. I'm going with you, B. And I was like, yeah, you should buy the ticket, we can roll. I mean, let's go. And I connected with him today. I felt something. Fast forward a few years later. I remember I met a beautiful black woman down south. I was doing shows in Birmingham, Alabama. And this woman came up to me after the show, and she connected with me instantly. She was like, Trevor, baby, can I just tell you right now, I ain't never met a stranger I felt so connected to. When you talk about Africa, when you say those things, I'm like, oh man, oh Lord, I wish I could go with you. Tell me all about the motherland, baby. I want to go to a place I can call my own. I want to go to a place where people don't look at me like I don't belong. Tell me all about Africa, baby. Tell me all about it. And I could feel what she was saying. And I knew that people weren't having a good time. And then you fast forward to 2016. And I'll never forget that moment when Donald Trump closed the lead, had a 1 in 2 chance of being president of the United States. And for the first time in my life, I had white Americans coming up to me going, so Trevor, tell me about Africa. What's going on out there? It's, sounds like a plan, am I right? What is it, motherland? Motherland? Yeah. I should come with you. Ali Boombaye, count me in, buddy. And it's not just America as well. I love Mexican food. I love Mexican people. I don't even know what it is. I think it's just people. So now what I had to do was get around using a GPS, you know? Decided to get one of those. First, I tried to be a cheapskate. I thought, oh, get a phone with a GPS. That was a horrible mistake. Bought myself one of those iPhones with Siri. Oh, your assistant, she talks to you. She listens to you. If you're American, she doesn't understand one word I say. I don't understand why. I speak English, and they're talking to her. Doom, doom. She's like, what do you need? I'm like, Siri, please call Peter. You want pizza? No, cancel. Siri, I need Peter. You want pizza? No, Siri, I want pizza, not pizza. You want pizza? No, Siri, what's going on here? You want to, Siri, you're not making sense. Siri, are you having an attitude with me? You tell me. I don't know what the hell is going on here. Siri, just listen to me. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Siri, just, bitch. Dialing mom. What the hell? This is horrible. I had to buckle down and buy myself a real GPS to get me around, which has been working like a charm. If you don't have a GPS, you get yourself one. It's the best thing you'll ever do. Just don't make the mistake I made and buy it from Craigslist. I bought one off Craigslist, and the guy who sold it to me didn't tell me that it was a Spanish language GPS, which was not so good. I didn't understand anything she says. Look, I still get around because the arrows are in English, thank God. But otherwise, it was just horrible. And I hated it the first few days, and then I fell in love with her. She's just, you know, I don't understand why more Americans don't speak Spanish. It's such a sexy language. I'm sitting there, and like all the men in here, you want to feel like a man. You get yourself a Spanish GPS. Oh no, you don't understand. Traffic never sounded sexier. It's just like, I just punch in random destinations and she guides me around. She's like, dum dum. Si que toco de que para conocí. En 200 metros.